Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Dsync podcast, episode 3. As always, I'm here gathered with my good friend Merrick and the awesome sex Finnish god Laurie. And today we are joined by no other than the Mr., the one and only Jet.
Hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening.
Welcome, Jet.
Welcome, Jed. How are you today?
Yeah, I'm doing fine. Thank you for inviting me on.
Are you honored to be here?
Of course I am, you fuckers. Why are we being so proper about
So
this shit?
formal.
You hear me every day. Come on.
Well, we
Yeah.
just owe so much Jet, and because it's thankfully to Jet that we are all together doing this stuff. At least I didn't knew Laurie before you started streaming. Not sure if Merrick did.
Why the head pin?
And we had that
Yeah,
we had that awesome
we are,
first
tw- we
Arma
are
3 experience.
in fact we are twins with Laurie, so we knew each other for a long time before,
Yeah, we have the same mother. Yeah.
Oh, really?
and the same haircut.
That is Slavic people. So, where are we starting? Are we starting with the main team? Is that right, Merrick?
Yes, it is right. We are
We'll
starting
jump
with
right to it. So we thought about this episode 3 that we would talk about another subject that has been on the high for the game development, that is early access and how it's being used to fund games. Is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? What are the pros? What are the cons? And obviously it fits in with the game that we talk about every single podcast, that's called Daisy Standalone. One of the biggest examples of an early access game. So, Jet, tell me, early access games do you own? Sort of. A round number.
How many? I'd probably say less than 10. Easily less than 10. So I think compared to how
Podcast
many's on
over.
the market, that's
we invited the wrong guest. Damn it, again.
No, I've not bought into a lot of them purely because they don't appeal to me. Example being Ark and Rust. Not really into the base building stuff.
Okay,
So.
I am interested in asking you, are you happy with your early access, the games that you bought for which are in early access?
Am I happy? Yeah, because every early access game I've bought has been pretty good, to be honest. I can run through a couple. Starbound. That was probably one of the first early access I bought. Project Zomboid, that was early access. Pretty good. Prison Architect. Necrodancer. The Long Dark. Played that as well in early access. So I think if you look at all those games collectively, I've had quite a good few hours of gameplay. As well as Nuclear Throne, I've got that one as well.
Is
Yeah.
the Long Dark already out on full release?
No, it's still early
So
access.
basically you have one game that's out on full release, that's the Necro Dancer, right?
Necrodancer. Is Nuclear Throne full release now?
Not
I think it
sure.
is.
I'm not sure.
Starbound's full release,
Is it?
I believe.
Mm-hmm. Starbound is.
Well, because they're getting their asses kicked by Terraria still. The game that they wanted to replace. And you also have the great successor that I saw you try to stream, that Sir Life is Feudal.
Life is Feudal, yeah. I tried out like a couple of days after launch, and it was just no good at the time, really.
Yeah,
So-
As in,
no
it didn't work. Not like I didn't like it. It didn't work at the time.
but did you play any of this game through the development cycle? Like, did you play any of them so long that you can say that they changed a lot during the development? Because, for example, I have also bought Starbound and I just played it for a couple of hours after I played, and then I stopped playing it, and they updated it like very much, to be honest, through that time, but I did not come back to it since then. And I think that the main feature, let's say this, for early access is like experiencing the development cycle and being the part of it?
Yeah, for sure. I think that's something that you've got to realize when you're buying into it. First of all, though.
Yeah. So did you play any game for that
Fully, I guess the only one would be ironically Standalone, which I've played kind of at every sort of section and tried it out to see what's new. I'd say that's probably the only one.
You really had?
Pardon?
Like you have played it?
Yeah, I've played it like every so often throughout the development.
Really? That's surprising to me.
I don't stream it, but I have played
Yeah,
it.
yeah. Yeah, it was the
Well,
trouble.
It's because I want it to be good. That's the thing. I don't want it to be a bad game. I want it to be good, you know.
So
Okay.
Laurie, tell us, and you, what early access games have you gotten yourself into? Just not to turn this into a Jet early access game, purely discussion.
Actually, I have pretty many early access games, but like John said, I had like Daisy Standalone, of course. Then I had the Little Like Daisy the Miscreated. You know the game? You guys
Yes.
know the
Yeah.
game?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What else do I have? I'm scrolling down my Steam to check it. There's what else? What else?
Prison
what else?
Architect?
I had the Space Engineers and
Prison
Goat
Architect.
Simulator.
You had Grav, didn't you, as well? That's down your alley.
Gravel.
Grav.
You mean the game that I talked about, the dungeon? Yeah. No, actually, I don't have it yet. My friend has it, and we play it there at his house. But let me think. What else do I have? Or do I really have many early access games? I thought I had. I had
Prison
of
Architect for
course,
sure.
yeah, Prison Architect, yeah, Rust, mainly like all the survival kind of games that I have are like early access.
Well, H1Z1
games.
as well was early access, was it?
Yeah.
It is still, yeah.
And
The-
there are many games, many games, and most of them, to me, are zombie or monster survival related. Those are the main type of games. And I have to say, like these games that I have bought an early access, there's like maybe 2 games that I actually have played after the first time I played them. There's like maybe Rust sometimes and Daisy Standalone. Those are the only games. Yeah, I think only games that I have played, like going on with the development cycle. I don't think there's. No, I don't think there's any else. But can we turn to Marek? What games do you have?
yeah, for me it's
So,
almost the
Marek,
same. It's the same as for everybody else. Mostly survival games, some stuff like Prison Architect and Rimworld and some other strategy games that I enjoy. Kerbal Space Program, which was released a couple of weeks ago as a full release. There is nothing really special apart of it, I think. So I don't think that I have anything to add to the list. Anything important? Togo, do you have any?
No, I just have 2 early access games as far as I know, unless I got some on Humble Bundle that I didn't notice. I got Prison Architect because Merrick told me to get it. I still haven't played it, and I have obviously Daisy Standalone. And I think those are my 2 early
Okay,
access
okay,
games.
Togo. So tell me,
Obviously,
tell me
Yeah,
what
sure.
because I know for a fact that you are not a fan of early access. So
I'm
tell me
not-
why
I'm not
you
a-
don't like. What is wrong with early access in your opinion?
My opinion, what's wrong with early access is that the system tends to fail, or we're having examples of games that aren't delivering what they promised at the beginning, even when you buy a early alpha game. Basically, you have games like Daisy,
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
sort of
Daisy killed
open
him.
world survival
Daisy killed him.
experience. What?
Togu, are we losing you?
Hello?
We really cannot.
Are,
You paced out.
what?
Technical
Give
issues?
me one. Give me 1 second. I probably need to improve my internet speed.
It sounds fine now for
Okay.
me.
Now it's good.
It's
Yeah,
fine.
now. Yeah, it's
Oh,
good.
sorry. But about early access, it's just that I see the disappointment in so many experiences, like Stomping Grounds. I believe that's a game that the
Yeah,
developers
that was a huge failure.
Yeah.
simply dropped. And you have one curious date that is tomorrow, the 23rd, because there was one early access game that was one of the first that was called Cube World. That I'm not sure if you guys heard of it. It
Yes,
was
Yeah,
yes,
sort
you
of
yes.
Minecraft with better graphics and RPG elements to it. And tomorrow it's the anniversary of 2 years since the last update, and everybody knows that the game got huge on Twitch. They sold thousands and thousands of copies, and the developer just disappeared completely. It was like, oh, it's a huge success. We're done. We're out of here. And that's what I feel like for games like Daisy SA standalone, that you see the game having a great success, and then the development cycle just doesn't happen how you would expect on a normal game that's being developed by normal funding ways. I just feel that sometimes if they have a huge hit right at the start as they are developing, they just say, all right, we already made our profit. There's no point in us keeping developing this game as long or as good as we should and hiring more people, because obviously we already sold our 80% copies that we were ever going to sell. So we are now just releasing it. And that's my fear about Daisy standalone, because that's the game where I bet the most money on. That they'll just release the broken version saying, well, this is it, this is our version, this is all we have to offer, now let the modders fix it. Because that's what already sort of happening in this December. That's what everybody's expecting. And I'm not sure. I think the early access model has its pros and its cons. I'm not sure how useful it is to listen that much to the community and change the game according to what the community wants. I've talked about that last week, because it's just a question of, I like people with a vision and that they keep with the vision. Of course, there's parts that are simply bad and broken and they should fix it, but the main guidelines, I think they should take it as much closely as they can to their heart. So I'm suspicious about the early access games, because it's buying a unfinished, unrefined product that might never be ended. And as a consumer, I like my products to be finished. I like my products to become what people promise us that they will be. So, and that's my question to you guys, the ones that have more early access games. Do you today, after like 2 years or 3 years with this early access culture that's been growing in the game industry, and apparently it's getting bigger with Xbox tapping in on it, do you guys still buy early access games as lighthearted as you did 2 years ago, 1 year ago, or are you now like way more suspicious and you wait to see how the development cycle goes?
For me, early access was always like I can divide early access games in a couple of groups. One of them being games that when I buy them in early access, I can already play them without any issues, and then it's just a question of adding a new content to the game. So, for example, Prison Architect or Darkest Dungeon, which are still in early access, but they are fully playable and contain almost no bugs at this point. and it's just a question of features being added. And with such a developer vision, I can like still support early access, because I believe that this allows developers to be independent and do not do their vision as they thought that it should be, and not how a publisher thinks that it will sell. So when I'm thinking about buying a game in early access now, I always try to see if the game is playable, and if it's just a matter of adding some new content, like the early access is only adding features. The only game that I have bought which is not finished that you can play, it's reasonable, is a standalone. It still lacks a lot of fundamental things to it. So from that point, I am not buying games that are in this state. I'm trying to see if the game is playable, and looking at this, I can say that I am okay with supporting early access in the future, for example.
Yeah. Does John want to go next? Because I have a question about the thing afterwards.
Sure. I think the only thing to say really is 2 years down the line from when early access started, I think everybody should know what they're getting into now. Doesn't mean that not finishing a game or not making it playable is right, but there's plenty enough content out there on Twitch and YouTube for you to make your own mind up if it's playable or not. And I'll definitely support early access games, because if people didn't, a lot of good games probably wouldn't have been released. Necrodancer, Prison Architect, probably the main two I want to mention. And definitely Twitch had a big role in both of those games as well, especially Necrodancer, because maybe those games wouldn't have come to development or full development if they didn't have the cash input. So it kind of benefits the consumer as well as the developer.
Mm-hmm. I would like to ask a question in a way that, for example, games like Daisy Standalone and the games that have like pretty long cycle of becoming a true working game. So, do you guys think that when maybe if for example Standalone will be ready, if that day comes, do you guys think that there still will be people buying those games that will be ready, or are the early access buy-ins the only way to get money out of that?
No, I think there's definitely some sales on full release. Yeah, it's like, because I was reading an interview with a developer, and he said it can work in favor and against, because it's like you can have two mediocre sort of sales periods, like an early access release and a full release, or you can have one big sales release area. So there's still some sales to be done at full release, definitely.
Yeah, for standalone, it's a strange situation, because the game was so hyped that after it released, no one waited to see how it looks and how it plays. Everybody bought it. So for standalone, I don't think there will be a peak in sale after it going to.
It won't go as high as it was.
Yeah, it will just. I think the situation will be that most of the people who do not play it now will start to play it and try to enjoy it like they did the mod in back in the day. But I don't think there will be spike in sales. But for the smaller games, which are not so hyped during the early access, I think that, of course, the full release is something that can add some sales to them. And there is a peak in in marketing, and people want to see what's happening with that, what happened with that game. Like Kerbal Space Program got some PR when they released the full release.
Mm-hmm. Togu, do you have anything to say?
No, I'm just wondering about the early access games that I find it funny, as Jets told us 2 years down the line, here we are, and now we don't blindly buy an early access game. We have to do our research before we do it, because we've learned, we've been burned in the past, and we have, some of us, the library full of games regarding that issue. Sorry, had to do something here. We have our libraries full of games of early access, and some of them we might never see the light of day. Of course, there are some shiny stories in the early access funding. Kerbal Space Program, it's one of them that came out of early access to a full release, and actually it's a game that deep into eventually. I just think it sinks way too much of my life into it. And for other good examples of early access, I'll probably say Darkest Dungeon, even though I haven't bought it. But the question about games, that, as Merrick was saying, that early access games that you can play that aren't necessarily as bugged, but they keep adding little features. The only question is, don't you guys get tired of the game when it reaches full release? Aren't you like, or I already played X amount of hours of this, even if it was an incomplete version of it, and now I don't have patience to play the full release version? Like in Darkest Dungeon, they keep adding bosses, adding new heroes, but how many hours can you keep drilling in it?
Can I say quickly that I'm gonna be so jealous for the guys and girls that are going to get into Daisy standalone if it will be finished, and they will get in and they will get that same feeling that we guys got from the mod, but a totally like working finished real Daisy game. Like they are going to get that excitement that we got from the mod from the real deal. And I'm gonna be so jealous about that, because I cannot have that anymore. But yeah, Marek, you were about to say something.
I just thought that apart from the early access, I just realized there are separate types of early access. Like for example, Ark, the Survival Involved, the game that came some time ago, and it was a real early access game when it was released, but the sales, which were very, very high, allowed developers to work full time on it and made many updates that made this game playable. This was like the real early access. I think this was the game that wanted to gather funds through early access. So it was like something like Kickstarter, but you got when you bought it, you already got the game. So it was quite nice, to be honest. And then there is another type of early access, like Togu said, that people are adding features. Like also I said that people are adding features to the game. It's like the game is in. It's not early access. It's like constant development. For example, Prison Architect. It's like every month there is an update that adds something to the gameplay, and it seems that this could go forever. Like the game will never be released, and the release, even if it will be released, then there will be no difference between as it was in early access and as it is released, because they will still add new content like forever. For example, like in Darkest Dungeon, every 2 months there will be a big update adding new bosses, new stuff. Do you think that this is like also part of early access, if this is a way to go for early access games to make it like constant development?
But are they just carrying on with the patches just so are they staying true to the development because they've got so much money in the bank, sort of thing? Because there's got to be a line. You cannot update your game forever.
Yeah, yeah, of
But
course, of course.
Well,
But
that's
for a
why
game like
some
Prison Architect, even if they say, okay, we are releasing this, it will not change anything because it could be released in any point of time and everybody would be happy because it is fully playable at this moment. So what will it change? If it be, will the release mean that there will be no updates after it and
maybe
no?
it'll go straight to a sequel or lead into a sequel of another game.
Okay.
Maybe that's and maybe that's like the last thing to do. If the sales are going like really low, then you release it, and you will get a small hype from there. Maybe.
Okay, another question. Dan mentioned in chat that he thinks early access doesn't fit larger projects. It fits indie devs that do small titles. And I was thinking, do you think that there will be a situation when the AAA title is put into early access? Like officially, not like Battlefield 4, but officially it will say that we have put a game in early access. To be honest, Battlefield Hardline was a bit like in early access because it had two beta phases which lasted for long, and it changed a lot after this. Do you think that it will ever happen officially that big studios will release games in early access?
Well, for me, it's probably about pricing. Would they have to knock down the price? Would they want to knock down the price? Would a AAA company want to knock down the price so people can play early when they can send out an alpha with a pre-order and a full price pre-order and let them play it via that?
Hmm. And for example, like there are like games that are having the people coming into the game like really early. Like for example, the new Rainbow Six game, like they had an alpha test or something for the, I think it was for the ones that pre-ordered it. So in a way, maybe that's a early access thing because it's really early. It's like an alpha. So maybe they are already doing it and they will just go on with it and they will release earlier and earlier builds from the game for the players to test. So I think that's gonna be the way it goes.
I think when you're in those kind of waters, though, you're kind of risking, if it's just an open alpha for a pre-order that you can cancel, you're risking like bad feedback on the game, negative feedback. Think of a few games that you've hated, and if you'd have played that early on, and you thought, nah, I'm never going to pay 30, 40 quid for that.
Yeah, but I also think about this, that game development of AAA titles is like getting more and more expensive because the games are more detailed, and even though the development tools are better now, like the Unity engine or Unreal 4 engine, but still the artists, the sound guys, the everything else is very, very much more expensive now. Do you think that the early access done by AAA studios could make them risk more? Like for example, they would try to release a concept of the game and see if anyone would go for it, and then if they do, they will do the full development cycle for this. And because I think that if the games become more and more expensive, the big studios will not try to risk going with new stuff, experimental stuff maybe, and doing something new. They will just do the same stuff, or repeated.
Well, about the AAA developers going into early access, I think they will. Like Dan was commenting on chat, Shenmue 3 is a sort of example of that. Kickstarter is
Mhm.
sort of an early access game where people start paying up before they even see a sketch of the game. And I think the one way out for the AAA developers will be for games that they don't necessarily want to develop, but if people are willing to put up the money, they will develop, like Half-Life 3. Saying it first, Half-Life 3 will be early access game. Just kidding.
I think games like
And
that, though, they're definitely in a certain category of games like that people are just going to put down whatever amount of money to play because they've been wanted for so long. Not all
yeah,
games are
it's
going to fit into that category.
not all games. I think as the consoles, Microsoft and Sony start to have their own early access programs, I think AAA developers, publishers will probably try to fundle some of the risk of developing some games, not necessarily the biggest stylus titles that they have and the ones that they know that are a cash in. Like Call of Duty will never be completely early access. It will just keep feeding on the pre-order culture that we have while we have it. But other franchises that they have that they might think it's a bit too risky to manage, maybe they'll start funneling that way with smaller studios that they bought, and they'll just instead of them putting up the whole money, they'll say, "People, give us your money if you want this game."
Mhm.
I
I think more companies will think about it now they've seen how much Shenmue's raised.
Yeah, and like it's funny how nowadays it's like when game developer the developers were going to the investors and saying that they have an idea and demo of a game, and they showed them to them. But now, like I'm seeing like this, like the investors are saying we need to get money from the customers, and you have to say like have to show the game to them and tell the idea of the game to them, and then we will give you money for that. Like it's like becoming more and more money orientated. It's I don't like that.
Yeah,
It's
early access. It's not being the question of the poor guy that cannot develop his game and wants to feed you his philosophy and his
yeah,
vision
because
for the game.
that's totally different thing for like a one guy who needs money to finish his awesome indie game. Like that's totally different. But like these Shenmue guys and like that, I there's just they just well like I don't know. I just don't like the idea. It's gonna be bad.
It's cancer.
Yeah.
It's cons-
That's why you don't buy early access games. If they are bad,
Yeah.
especially if they're because we all love Daisy or the notion of what Daisy might be, but I don't think any of us are completely happy with the game. Not at all with the. It's not a question of not having the scope that you want. It's the amount of bugs that it still has that it makes it almost unplayable. Besides the optimization to the computers that you need to have a machine with access, but we just loved the vision, and I think we are all so far 2 years after very disappointed with the development cycle of the game. We understand that it might be tough, but we can see guys from like Arc that are doing a great job, that keep patching it up and doing it on almost record speed. And one must think about those big games now with the develop and like H1Z1. It's a weird game because that one also had Sony behind it and still went to early access. So and it's weird. We as consumers should ask for maybe some known publishers to do something about it. To I'm not sure. We should draw the line on what early access is and what games deserve our support and not. Because if we as consumers don't rise up a little bit, we are going to end up being screwed all over the industry. I believe.
Yep.
Yeah, but to be honest, even if we do not support early access and they will stop doing this, we will still be screwed because, as a fine example, is the new Batman Arkham Knight game on PC. So this is the regular release, and still you are screwed.
Yeah.
But there you had the amazing thing that was Warner Brothers taking out the game because of the Steam refunds, for sure.
But
Yeah,
even
this is
but they knew
They knew.
how the game was. They had to know because
they-
there's guys like seeing the game and they are saying like, this is shit. We cannot publish, and the corporate heads are
Yeah.
just no, just put it out there. Somebody's gonna buy it.
we are screwed anyway, so let's risk it.
Yeah.
Maybe no one will notice.
Yeah.
But another question for me, because you, Togu, mentioned refunds. What is your opinion on refunds for early access games? Should early access games be refunded, and like what should
I
be
think they
the
should.
what should be the like
The
then-
policy, I think you
yeah,
should
what should be the
be
policy for the
refunded
refunds? Should it be should you
think-
get the refund after the release, for example, or
No, I think during. I think the Steam refund system isn't that bad. The only because on Steam apparently you can refund a game if it's not early access, if you've played under 2 hours of it,
Yes, and
if
in
you
14
haven't
days.
bought it for more than 14 days.
yeah, but
And the only thing that I would change about early access probably it would be the time to refund it, not the playtime. The playtime I think it's correct, because if you get, and probably I have under 2 hours in DayZ standalone. If you get a game that you cannot play, and let's say that you buy the game today as early access launch, you buy in on it, you cannot run it. Let's say you say, no, the developer deserves my money, I'm believing in him, I'll stick with the project for 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, and let's say that it's like Cube World. 2 years after, still no development, still no canceling of the show. So what? And so I think that on those cases the refund should be available for people until the full release. But I would take off the option to refund at the full release if you bought it during the whole development cycle. And let's say if you haven't played 2 hours of it, that would be strange. Then I would take care of the chance. But I think you should be able to refund it, especially if you have very little playtime on it. Not sure what's your opinion on it.
yeah, but I mean the situation where, for example, like Stomping Grounds or something like that, that okay, you are
Stomping Grounds?
how was it called, Stomping Grounds or Stomping
Yeah,
Land?
yeah, it's
Stomping
a
Ground.
ground.
Never mind.
Stomping Ground,
Never mind.
whatever.
I mean, when you, for example, you buy a game in early access, everything is okay. Like early access, the philosophy between early access is that you buy the game to take part in testing. Yeah, it's like beta phase. So you play this game, everything is okay. 1 month, 2 months, you have like much more than 2 hours of it played, and then the development stops. Like developer disappears. There's nothing there. You cannot like play. There are no updates. It's not released, and so should you be still able to refund the game? Because sounds
not
like
sure.
you should.
But like,
It sounds like you should, but let's say that you had it happened to Darkest Dungeon or Prison. I'm not sure Stomping Grounds if it's working or how much of it's working. But let's say a game that actually works for as little scope as it is, like a vertical slice of a working game, that then they would add a bunch of models. And so let's say that you played 4 hours or 10 hours on Darkest Dungeon, and then the developer just never finished the game, just disappeared off the map, went bankrupt or whatever because of other reasons. That you would still have a game to play.
Yeah, yeah.
It's not the game that
Yeah.
was promised,
Yes,
but
you're
you would
right.
still have a game. But if a game is completely broken and you cannot play it, then I would say you would have like 2 hours, 3 hours, or let's say 10 hours of gameplay to know this game is all broken as shit. I need to refund this shit for now. I might buy it later, and that's why I would say the gaming time. Because if you cannot play the game and you cannot enjoy it, I think eventually you should have to refund it for as much as you believed on the developer. If you keep the game on your library for months waiting for the developer and you see if there nothing appears, it's on your own risk. No,
Yeah,
maybe
it's interesting. Yeah,
just
you got a good point with that. And but I wonder if you can still play this Stomping Grounds, if it's playable, because I think it is playable.
yeah.
If
I'm not
anyone
sure.
plays
I'm
it,
not
yeah?
sure if the servers were based or not.
I
Do we
don't
have
know. I don't know.
Whipping grounds? Maybe Mr. Grambles? I'm not sure.
Okay, another question. This time to Jat because he's silently sleeping probably. What do you think about
Or
pricing for early access games? Do you think that because from what we can see lately, the games are priced like full games? Yeah, for example, Ark is 27 euro or something like that, which is like which is very much even for a triple A title. So should early access be
Discounted.
more expensive or discounted heavily at start, like for example Minecraft was when it started, because Minecraft is also a very nice example of early access when no one called it early access.
yep.
Heavily discounted. I think it depends.
And I just mean your opinion, yeah, your personal, like, what do you think?
I mean, H1Z1, I was fine with putting £15 down, but knowing that was like an open world survival sort of thing, I think that's a reasonable price point. I think it's hard to compare every early access game, but again, it depends what the developer needs as well. So it does depend on each game. And anywhere near full price just to get into the game early to help them test it, I think is a bit cheeky. Because you can help them. A lot of people are helping them testing. So I think anywhere over like £20 maximum for me on any early access game across the board is way too much. I think 15 for me. 15 is probably where I think I can wait, especially with it's like I said earlier. You can see these games on Twitch. I saw Rust for early access. I saw Ark for early access. I realized I wasn't interested in either of those. So I think when you can see so much of the games now, and you can see if you like them, and you can tell if you're going to get your money's worth. I think that's what I always think of when I'm playing games, when I'm buying games. Am I going to get my money's worth out of them? Even if a game doesn't fully release in early access, if I've got my money's worth, then it doesn't really bother me that too much.
Togu?
I think that is right about the pricing, because the question about games and their prices, and I just go over the early access things. I think one should value the time that they spend playing the game, and people normally tend to use the $2 rule, that for each hour that I have fun playing a game, or not meaning hour of gameplay, hour I have fun playing the game, I value it at X amount of dollars. People normally tend to agree around the $2 value to say that a game is worth it. So, meaning that a $60 game it's $30 would be 30 hours worth of fun and so on. Of course, if you're buying into early access, you're buying a product with a certain amount of risk. So you should have that into consideration. Let's say that you cut the ratio to, I need to have 30 hours of fun for a $30 game because I value each hour at $1 because of that game. And I tend to think a little bit too analytical also on my acquisition of games, thinking about how many hours will I sink into this, how much entertainment will I get out of this game. And so I think that the prices of the early access games should evaluate / differ a little bit. I won't say across the board that Ark doesn't deserve the 27 euros that it's asking, or that Daisy standalone was 25. Not sure how much it is currently. Rust is 14. That's surprisingly low. But that's the question of course, if you tell me between the value of Arc, DayZ standalone, and Rust, I'll probably say that on Arc you have the most content right now. Maybe not sure.
Yes. It
Compared with Rust,
seems you're right.
probably. So that's you have to. I'm not sure if I value the. Of course, 27 euros are 27 euros. It's a lot of money, but then you have the hours that of content that you already have available on an early access title, on which you can pay, and that's the main thing. I think people need to value very carefully. Of course, I think that the developers make up the prices as much as they want. I'm not sure what reasoning goes into them. Oh, there was another early access game that I'm not sure. Do you call Arma 3 a early access game? You bought into the alpha, right?
Yeah, it was like early access alpha sort of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, it was when early access was called alpha and beta.
Yeah.
But
Early
you can
days
you
of
can
early
you
access.
can I think you can call it early access because mostly alpha and beta are limited for anyone and are free. Yeah, and here you had to pay, and if you pay,
Do you remember
are,
how much you paid for Arma 3?
Mine was £20
yeah, 20
for the alpha.
24 euro, something like that.
And currently it's around 44, something like
Yes,
that.
yes,
It
yeah.
changed through each phase. The
Around-
beta was £30 and full was 40, I think.
Yeah.
So it had almost a double expansion into the full release. We don't know the price that DayZ standalone will have on full release, or that Arc will aim at full release. Maybe
Wasn't
Arc
that
will go
taking a
for the
similar path to Arma?
$60.
They said they were going to change it for each section, like Arma 3 was, I think.
Yeah.
Increase it. I don't know if it's as much of an increase, but it was a small increase at least.
If I was a standalone developer, I would tread very softly on those increases. Just saying, unless the game is really changed by then, compared to what you see now on the servers, because it's still very broken, still very buggy, and
But it's
there you go.
playable.
It's playable. A
But
little
you
bit.
know, it's funny about DayZ standalone. Like I can totally get why people dislike it, or but maybe because it was like this when the mod came out. You know, the mod was really broken and there was so many problems. And like when I went into DayZ standalone, I had that same idea in the back of my head that it will be like that. Like it should be better because it's a company making a game, but still I'm like thinking it as a mod. So maybe that helps me to still play the game.
So you
I
say
think the
you have
standalone-
lower expectations for standalone.
I think
Yeah.
everybody does, to be
Yeah,
honest.
yeah. Because I'm not like none of us is going to get the same feeling out of the game that we got from the mod from the early days.
People were riding high from the mod and then going into a new like standalone. The expectations were way too high. And I always think he was pressured into releasing it early.
Mm-hmm.
I think also that's and Lauri left.
Sorry, random.
Bye, Lauri. I think that standalone is like a very unique experience for early access. It's not a representative for the genre.
It's surely one of the biggest titles. It's one of the biggest failures.
Yeah, but it was
also.
a specific situation where like you cannot compare it to the other early access games, I think, and it's like it goes by its own laws, and yeah,
You're right, because the maker of DayZ Standalone doesn't compare early access to DayZ Standalone. He compares it with Kerbal Space Program and Prison Architect because he's ashamed of what he's made.
yeah,
And
yeah,
Rocket,
yeah.
I love
Yeah,
you.
yeah,
You're a great
yeah.
creator.
You're right, Togo. You're totally right. I think that Dean Hall realized his mistakes, and I agreed with everything he said about early access in the interview that which we are talking about, where he said that for him at this moment, going to early access is exactly the game should be released in early access only if they are fully playable and without major bugs, like Kerbal Space Program, Prison Architect, and any other games. And I think that Daisy standalone made this grave mistake when they released a very very early, unfinished and buggy game, which just was not something that people wanted it to be. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
but will we like? If we will, I hope that his new game will be released like that it will be fully playable, but still I'm interested in it, but I'm not sure if I will buy it like day zero or day one.
Yeah.
I
don't
I think
believe
I will.
anybody will buy it at zero unless it's a finished game and you're like, this is the best thing ever. Nobody found bugs in 12 hours. I'm buying this shit.
I think that someone will buy it. Anyway,
Well, people always will buy it. The question about the ZS standalone and you guys saying that it was rushed, and I sort of believe because I remember the streams of Lyric and Sacriel and other games right on the months before standalone, and everybody was talking about standalone. Everybody was like, they took out from Steam, they took out DayZ. They already took it out because they are implementing the new game, the DayZ standalone.
Yeah, I remember.
They took out the mod, so
on Reddit there was like every day there was a topic about what changed in Steam DB. And
everybody
if
was
the release
wanting,
is close.
everybody was hungry for it.
Yeah.
And I wonder if they should have, instead of releasing a broken game, if they should have made almost a Kickstarter move or a pre-order move, because maybe Dean was forced by the investors and by people at Bohemia that were like, look, you already spent 1 year developing this or whatever. We know that some people want it. We don't know how many people want it. We have a certain amount of risk. We need to do some sort of pre-order to see if people want to really get this game. And maybe they should have tried in for that way, because I think people were so hungry for the game that lots of people would have bought early access pre-order game, and that will be a thing eventually for the big companies that had a good early access experience. And with that, maybe Dean would have more time to put out a more refined product and not shock everybody by putting out such a buggy game as he did. And maybe he would have kept both sides happy. Maybe, not sure.
I think that the Bohemia business realized that this was the perfect moment to monetize the DayZ mod, and from business perspective they made the best decision for them and earned a lot of money for the company.
Yeah, they made a buckload of money.
Yeah, so okay, so is there anything else which you would like to add about early access? Did we cover everything?
No, the question about early access, should it still be there? Do you guys think that maybe the developers or the clients should have like a manifesto of rules for early access games that the developers should abide by? You know, how can we save the early access model? How can we take out the risk on part of the consumers, also on part of the developers? Of course, developers that already delivered some early access games deserve to be rewarded for that, but the consumers also need to be safeguarded. Do you guys think that the major early access developers, because we are talking, there are some guys that are chronically early access developers, do you guys think that they should get together or come into an arrangement also with Steam and Greenlight of what's an early access game, on which state can we release it? and present it to the consumers and like have a certificate of sort of quality, comas.
It will not happen. No,
Yeah,
I think that
I would love.
this is the wild environment, and like people will pay for early access games no matter what, and they will pay for, maybe not for early access because it's just a name. They will pay for hype, because what Steam did is that everybody has a lot of games. Yeah, you have a lot of games. Like I have so many games that are like half of them I did not even start playing.
Yep.
So in the situation like that, you get bored with all that you have and you seek new stuff. There's the hype of the new, and early access is just something that came from the hype of the new. Everyone wants something new, so people just provide them with new concepts, and the best way for that is early access, and people will still buy this no matter what, and even if it changes name to something else, to beta access or something like that, people will buy it, and there will be failures and there will be successes, but people like to throw money at things, and they will continue to do so.
I think when you look back 2 years ago, when Twitch was just getting big, really big, and when early access started being released, I think when games are being streamed as well, I've been affected by the hype a lot of times. Crypt of the Necrodancer, I watched that for weeks and then bought it, and then I'd had enough of it already. I think a lot of people, thousands, hundreds of thousands of people watching on Twitch, watching a streamer play it. It's such a good sales engine. One person can sell so many copies of an early access game, but I think to safeguard yourself, you've got to do your own research and see if it's for you, and hopefully not waste your money.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing to link Twitch or streaming to early access, to building the hype.
I think it does. I think
it's
a
part. It's a part of the mechanism which feeds early access.
It really does. And it doesn't matter if there's a buggy game, if a streamer can make it look like fun and makes fun of the bugs in a good way, then it's gonna sell some copies.
I have to give it to them. Some bugs are really funny, and some bugs that still occur in Arma 3 and Daisy Mod and Daisy SA do make me giggle a little bit, and then I cry when I'm at home alone at night. I tend to cry about the money that I wasted on buggy games. But besides that time, when I see the crazy physics engine and people swimming in midair in Arma 3, I have to laugh, or the stretch neck. One guy has to laugh at those bugs. Cannot keep a straight face at them, for sure.
Okay, can we finish the topic of early access? Like, Lauri, one sentence about early access.
One sentence. Yeah.
Early access
well,
is shit.
It's a yes for smaller developers, companies, and a no for the bigger ones. That's that.
John?
I'd say I support early access. Do your research and don't bitch. And vote with your wallet.
Togu?
Early access is the devil. That's the Togu way.
Yeah, I think that early access will stay, and we have to accept that. And I agree with
our overlord.
I agree with Jad that do your research and risk it if you think it's worth it.
Because it is always a risk. It's always a risk.
Okay, so
just one quick question, Merrick, for you, Jet and Lord.
No,
Just
no, no.
one
I'm
quick
not
question
listening.
about
I'm not
early
listening to.
What's the best early access game that you can recommend right now?
But the best as a game or the best as
What
best
would you
updated?
recommend if you have a friend that said, I saw you talking about early access games. Tell me one that will not disappoint me and that I will love. One early access game.
Daisy.
Okay, we are finished. Togu got wrecked.
Well done.
But I can say definitely one game, and that's the game that John mentioned, the game called Crawl. It will work. It's a good game.
The only problem with Crawl, Lauri, is that it's only local co-op. You cannot play it online.
It is?
Yeah, it's only local.
Oh, damn.
Yeah,
Only the finished sauna co-op mode.
Oh, I did not know that. Oh, damn.
Okay, yeah.
So then, don't fucking buy it.
For me, it would be, I think, Prison Architect, because it's already a finished game and they are still adding features to it, and I have not seen a bug while I played it, and I enjoyed it very, 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 very much. So,
Yeah, seriously, I'd say Necrodancer.
but Necrodancer is released.
Yeah.
So you are saying that the best early access game is the one that is released.
It really is.
I'm trying. I'm trying to think of a broad audience game that would fit any sort of
Necrodancer,
new user.
the soundtrack alone sells it. The
Yeah,
soundtrack
that's
is
true.
just purely amazing.
Yeah,
It's
and
worth. I'm not sure. Do you get the soundtrack for free, or is it a special package to get the soundtrack? Jet, do you know? You have
I'm
the
not too
files?
sure. I know you can now from full release you can change the songs to remix songs for free. So
The Family Jewels guy
Yeah.
remixes are amazing.
yeah,
Purely. Just saying, if you guys want a good soundtrack, that game has a very, very cool soundtrack. So we're done. Early access is
Yeah.
dead. So
early access is
let's
dead.
go. Do any of you have any news he wants to talk about regarding this last week? Besides the subject that we didn't mention last week because we were
the thing you didn't
in
mention, that was the only thing you should mention last week.
Exactly. We were in grief
It's
and
not
we
funny.
didn't have our Nintendo expert. So let me pass to our Nintendo foreign correspondent, Mr. The One Jet.
No, I just think he.
Tell us
from
about
my
your
point of view.
trip to the
Okay, no,
memorial
but a serious
for-
question, because I was not following any Nintendo news, like just like I knew that there is like a big hype for when Wii came out, and they sold a lot of consoles and a lot of games, that I knew that the Wii U is a disaster for now. This is the only things that I know about Nintendo. So if you could, because we are talking about the death of Nintendo CEO.
Satoru Iwata.
Yeah. So, Judd, you probably know more about it than we do. Can you tell me what was his real impact on Nintendo and on gaming as a whole?
I think
For what was his input into gaming?
I think the biggest thing he did was he oversaw and probably planned the release of the DS and the Wii, the originals. So touch display and motion controls for a console that sold many millions
Yeah,
And-
the biggest success ever of Nintendo.
and took
The Wii.
Nintendo from a GameCube, which was trying to catch up to Sony and Xbox, to they took them like down a totally different road to anything else, and I think that was it offered gamers something different, and I think that's to be respected in a time where money is the most important thing. He went, we're not going to fuss with the graphics and stuff like that. We're going to go down a different route, and it definitely worked.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but he was CEO of Nintendo before the Wii and before the DS. Yes.
I think it was around
Uh,
Millennium he took over.
Okay.
he took out around 2002, I believe, something like that.
Yeah. I think I agree that the Wii and the motion sensor revolution was a big thing, and it it had a big impact on gaming and on everything else also.
Well, it made
As
it made Sony bring out their motion, and it made Xbox bring out the Kinect. So you know.
Yeah. It opened to casuals, yeah, because the Nintendo, the Wii was like a casual console of the casuals,
Yeah.
not hardcore gamers.
Yeah. The Wii was really a really big one. We even had a Wii in the army, like the army bought Wiis for people to exercise. So it was everywhere. Wii was everywhere.
I can imagine Laurie sitting in a armchair, smoking cigarette, and like waving the Wii mode and playing tennis. One hand with the
Almost correct.
cigarette and the second one.
You're
I'm playing tennis in the army. I'm trying to be fit.
So the Finnish army is really good at the Wii.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we had what was it called? The balance board.
The Wii Fit.
Yeah, we had that, and we played the ski jumping game, and that made like we had so fucking many injuries with that game. Like everyone was bleeding, and like we jumped really hard. We smashed our heads, and it was bad. It was bad.
In Finnish
like
art.
the shooting and everything else. That's nothing. But try to play Wii U with the balance board and ski jump. Like that's some hardcore stuff.
Finnish army does not need enemy to be defeated.
Yeah.
You just
yeah.
you just ship them Wii's, and they are like, oh, we are dead.
Yeah.
It's all
yeah.
over. The country is defeated and conquered.
Definitely.
Yeah, so
And that's our Nintendo small feature. Besides that, I think Iwata was also a part of the development of many of the famous Nintendo games, like Earthbound, Pokemon's, Super Smash Bros., I believe.
He thought about
Super
himself
Mario.
as a developer at first place. Yeah, I when I read about any news that said about his death, it was always mentioned that he said that I am a developer at first, and then I am a businessman.
So we will see how Nintendo will bounce from this. And I wonder if at Gamescom they will have any sort of announcement regarding the new console.
They said next year.
Probably have a small memorial for the deceased CEO.
Yes,
I'm not sure. Are they even having a presentation at Gamescom?
Don't you? But okay, I have a question about Nintendo for you. Do you think that this new Nintendo console is a hoax? Because for some reason I have this feeling that it's a hoax, that they just like they don't have anything really. Maybe they are working on something, but it's like they just needed this for the company, for stakeholders to, I don't know, to be less nervous, and for shares to rise up a bit on the market. Do you think do you think that there will be a Nintendo next?
I think it's a reassurance, definitely, because of poor sales on the Wii U.
Why didn't they show anything about this? Like they just said, "Oh, we are working at something," and they even said that it's something different. Yeah, because they said it's not a console. It's something different that will be something new.
It's amiibo holster. You buy a nice armor called the NX where you can place your amiibos.
Yeah, but
and if you go, Laurie. I'm just
but maybe it's a good thing because we are talking about the early access things and are releasing stuff too early and getting the hype on too early. So maybe it's a good thing that they are not telling too much about it. So the hype will be still on when they release the new console. So maybe
Yeah,
it's a
but
smart thing.
yeah, I know that Nintendo is a different company. Like it's a Japanese company, but it struck me that they just say we have something, but we will tell you about this in 10 years. We will present a concept in 10 years. This is like saying we don't have anything, but we hope that we will came
We'll think
with
of
something,
something.
Yeah,
since we will
yeah,
have to show.
it's something like the janitor told us a good thing. We are going to tell you that in 5 years.
Yeah.
Well, you can probably kickstart it.
Yeah.
Just saying, kickstart the new Nintendo console, or maybe who knows. So, anything else besides the sad news that came out from Japan?
Oh, and then the news I was about to say something like there's right now I don't know if you guys heard about it, but there's a rumor right now that Nokia is making a VR headset. Like
Uh,
they are going to go in a race against Oculus and Sony.
Okay.
So that's probably gonna happen.
Yeah, that's a nice thing that you mentioned it. Dan from chat suggested us a topic, a small topic for discussion about the VR gaming. Do you
Mhm.
think what are your thoughts about VR? Is there a market for this? And because we have like everybody is doing it, Sony is doing it. Nokia, as you said, I read some Nvidia is doing something, Xbox I think
Yeah,
is doing something,
Samsung.
Samsung,
Samsung.
and do you think that this will have a real impact on gaming that we will switch to, or will it be like Kinect or motion sensors that
3D?
it
No,
will be like nice for a year and then everybody will forget about it?
I probably think it's gonna be like it's not gonna be like a Kinect, but at least I hope it's gonna be like more like there's consoles, there's PC, there's these handheld consoles like PS Vita and Game Boys, and then there's gonna be VR stuff. Like, of course, you can connect it to a console or PC, but I hope it's gonna be like that different that it's not like playing on a sofa with your PS4. It's gonna be something special. I hope.
I think it's all about price point because how many
Yeah,
developers is it going
yeah.
to exclude if they need to make a game for VR or if they decide to? And it's also a price point for how much is it going to be for a consumer to buy the hardware. And for
Definitely.
me, I'm not really hyped about it. I'm happy to look at news and releases and see what they've come up with, but it's probably not something that. I mean, I'll try it, but all I can see is price and lots of money being spent.
No.
Hmm.
Well, VR is not new. When I was a
Yeah.
young kid, maybe 20 years ago or something, I remember using a VR headset to play Doom or Return to the Castle of Wolfenstein, or no, Wolfenstein 3D. Sorry, confusing the games. And it wasn't that great then, and I'm not sure how it will be now in terms of the quality of image. People say that some are great and stuff besides the motion sickness, but I don't find it especially appealing. I wonder how much you'll feel immersed on certain atmospheres and on certain gameplays. And of course, we all love survival games, and we would love to feel transported into the woods of Cherno, running from zombies and that sort of stuff, and being
Hmm.
hunted and sniping people.
Uh,
But you'll always have at least that feeling of a keyboard or a remote that will be your connection to the interface and interpret with the world that will break part of the immersion. And I'm not sure, I'm not specifically hyped for it. like Jet said, I think price will be very important. And we have another technology similar, not to the virtual reality, but the augmented reality of Microsoft, and that also seems a little bit interesting so far. But either the case, we are seeing the first stage of development. We don't see if we are going. We don't know if we are going to see the second generation gear or the third generation gear. It will depend if this one will tank or not. Like I was saying, the 3D technology on TVs that just collapsed. That everybody was like 3D is the new thing, and then nobody wanted a 3D.
Mhm.
So not sure about the VR. If people will be, yes, VR is really the stuff that I want. Because also when Laurie is in the sauna with his 4 friends playing co-op games, each one with the VR set, it's not the same thing. It's not the same. When you have the monitor, you can interact more. So
So can I ask a question?
No.
sure.
What do you think companies or developers, hardware developers, see that makes them all jump on this same bandwagon?
Money.
No, but if we think it's costing a lot, how are they planning to sell it, and how are
Yeah.
they planning to sell it so that developers are willing to make games?
I think that there are two factors. The first factor is that they are aiming for the VR sets to be cheap, like cheaper than consoles, cheap, like twice cheaper than consoles. Yeah, so affordable for everyone, to be honest. And the second factor is that which is the most important for me, is the ease of making games for that stuff. Like, I think that from the developer perspective, it is much easier now to make any game, and it will be easy to do a VR game also. So like they know that the manufacturers know that they have to provide a cheap headset, VR set, and also good tools for developing the game.
Mhm.
So that companies that make games, it will be very easy to make games, and which means there will be a lot of games for VR sets.
Mhm. Yeah, that's a real thing. That like many of these new technologies that we have, like new ways to control, new ways to see the game. Like many of those have like made some games and then they are forgot. Like for example, I have. Do you guys remember this? Or can I show this somehow? You remember this? Motion leap. You know it? Nobody
No.
knows?
Motion leap? I
Okay,
can't say I
please,
have it.
please
So-
explain.
So this is like a small Kinect kind of thing, and you have it here next to your or behind your keyboard, and you can like control your PC with it like this. You can like, for example, if I want to change the song, I can press it with my finger like here in the air, and then click right, and I will play next song, for example. And they are like when this released, like I bought this used, but still, when it released, they had like many games coming for it, like these little mobile phone kind of games, and then in maybe in a year, it all died. Like nobody made games for it anymore, and now I don't think there's nobody's like making anything for the device. Now it's just has to stick with the stuff that it has. Like there's nothing new coming for it.
Are we still talking about the Wii U?
No, we are talking about this.
No, it's also a device that nobody makes stuff for it.
Yeah.
So, couldn't resist.
That's a whole nother topic, my friend.
About No, the question about VR, of course, is who will develop it for it. Mm, I wonder if you can make the VR technology accessible to some games like Skyrim and that sort of open world first person games that simply people can just connect, and instead of having a monitor, you use it like you would have track IR in Arma, where you look, you see whatever it's rendering there. Not sure how complicated it can be to connect those two technologies of normal game with the 3D headsets. I'm not a developer at all, and I would prefer it that there wouldn't be games that were specifically made for VR. I would like for games to be made and possibly be used on the VR headset, because I also want to experience the games at normal pace, maybe. Maybe
Yeah,
I'm fuzzy.
but for example, like Arma-based games like Arma and DayZ, those games that has the support for the track IR, like and like the ability to move your head, like
Hmm.
those games are gonna be really easy to adapt to the VR stuff. Like you can already play DayZ and Arma with Oculus Rift.
Yeah, I imagine so, and also the Elite Dangerous and maybe Star Citizen,
Yeah,
if we
yeah,
ever see it, should be perfect games for that.
Yeah,
Where you just
Elite
look
Dangerous
around your
is
cockpit.
fully playable with Oculus, so many people play it with that.
Well, there's a game where I Merrick, you have a joystick, right? And maybe
Yes,
pedals,
yes, yes,
not
yes,
sure.
yes, yes.
That's a game where you can fully immerse
Yeah,
yourself
yeah,
because you
yeah,
won't even
exactly.
use the keyboard. You can have voice control slash joystick, look around your cockpit, so
Yeah,
all of a sudden,
it's a perfect game for full immersion because in Arma and Daisy you have to walk and this
yeah,
kills the
true.
immersion, and in Elite Dangerous and all those simulation games you don't have to, you have to just sit back and enjoy it. So VR set is perfect for that.
Yeah, I really don't want to get that because I would get lost. I would be there week after week after week. I'm that kind of guy that will go too deep with those kind of experiences.
Yeah, overall, I think that the VR sets will probably will be a quite big thing, but it will not be the main way people play games. For sure,
Yeah,
I'm not sure if it will. I'm still 50-50 on if it will be something that will be a standard for people to have and not maybe not play every day, but like from time to time, or it will just be a gadget that will die and after like 2-3 years we shall see. There are many VR sets coming. Probably one of them will survive, like
yeah,
with
one
Blu-ray.
will become the industry standard and
Yeah,
probably
yes, yeah,
will have the friendly
yeah, but
competition of another.
it has to be, it has to be a wild fight before which one which one will survive. Maybe the the Oculus is of course the favorite, as it was one of the first, or maybe one of the which got much publicity and marketing going on. So probably it should be the leader, and of course it's Facebook, so it has a strong
Yeah,
background with
you completely
finances.
want virtual reality when browsing Facebook.
I'm sure that Mark Zuckerberg has something, yeah, in his mind for you to to experience Facebook with uh, with
I'm
VR
pretty
set.
sure. I'm pretty sure he has.
Yeah, for sure, the adult gaming industry will.
The what? What industry are you talking about, Merrick? I'm not aware of the adult gaming industry. Let me
I
write
think
that down
Togu,
for
I
later.
think, I think Togu is the only one who knows what we are talking about here.
Yeah, yeah. So Togo, do you think that adult gaming industry will be a thing after VR?
I'm not saying adult gaming, but well, it depends on what you call gaming. Because as many know, the porn industry online has been on the forefront of many evolutions of the internet and certain technologies. So of course, if the porn people back it up, it's way much more. It stands a greater chance of having success. And I'm pretty sure the porn industry people have lots of uses for a 3D for a virtual reality set.
Dating pigeons will never be the same with a VR
I
set.
think pigeons will never be the same. But that game, it's not adult game, but it's really cool.
It can be,
Fun game.
Togo. There will be a patch for sure.
I'm
DLC.
pretty sure there is a mod.
Okay. Okay, yeah, that I think that we can go for the last part of our podcast.
The games that we've been playing
Yeah, and free talk.
and free talk. Oh, I
Okay,
thought we were doing the free talk.
let's start with Jad. Jad, please.
What I've been playing, I've been playing and finished Arkham Knight.
Arkham Knight,
but-
and you've been playing on console, right?
Been playing on Xbox One. Yeah.
So how
no,
does it run?
no bugs, no frame drops. Looks awesome. PC Master Race and all that. But yeah, I enjoyed it. Probably a bit too much Batmobile action.
That was my question. How are you enjoying the Batmobile? Are you doing the full unlocks? Because I heard the game had maybe 3 endings. The game.
I won't give away anything like about the ending, but there's multiple endings which I looked up a couple of videos for the endings I missed.
Okay.
But there was too much stuff to do for the whole.
So
for the
when
whole
they
game.
fix the bug, do you recommend?
It's okay. It's decent. It's better than City and Origins, but not as good as Asylum.
Yeah, so
Okay.
how would you compare this to the other Batman games?
Like I said, there's a lot of side missions, a heck of a lot of missions in general, but there's a lot of like Batmobile puzzles and there's Batmobile combat as well, and jumping from roof to roof, doing certain stuff with the Batmobile. But I mean, it was you could stand it. It wasn't too bad.
And,
But yeah, it's nowhere near as good as Asylum.
Okay, so you still have Asylum as your number 1, and then Arkham City as 2, or Arkham City?
Asylum, Night, City, and then Origins.
Yeah, and would you like to play any other Batman games? Because this is the last one that is
This is the
done
last one,
by. Yeah, but probably maybe someone will do the next one without Rocksteady, like Origins was made. Would you like to see a new Batman game? Do you think
Yeah,
about it?
because it's Batman. So yeah, and I think people will buy it because it's Batman. But generally, the 4 games have been good, so can't really complain.
Yeah,
from-
but
For
so
PC, of course.
and do you have any idea for the next Batman game? What would you like to see there? I was thinking about this Gaslight project, like Batman in 19th century London,
Yeah.
for example.
I think that would be nice. Possibly multiplayer.
Jack the Ripper,
co-op.
Jack the Ripper story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go on, Larry.
Yeah, I was about to ask because aren't the Arkham series, like they are continuing, how do you say it? They are like continuing from the story Killing Joke. I think.
Yeah, they're not released in order that it should be played. Really, obviously,
Yeah.
Origins came out third.
Yeah, but they are like continuing from the comic book Killing Joke.
Yeah, and
So-
there's lots of nods to different comics as well throughout. I don't
Yeah.
think if you looked at them all closely, they wouldn't all match up, but there's a lot of nods to the comics there.
Yeah, because there's so many good like Batman comics that they could like continue on, like stories maybe something now that they are making a movie about it, something about Batman classing Superman or something. They have so many opportunities to do.
Yeah, there was this rumor about a Superman game with in
Oh
this
yeah,
mechanic. Yeah, but it
and there
was
was
just a
this
rumor, I think.
a short video about it, like this.
I just saw a model of Superman, but I think it was from something else. It was a fake.
It was I think it was from Injustice, taken from there.
Yeah, yes, with
Model.
the new DC 52 storyline. Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, a few years back when they were bringing the Hulk and Captain America and all those sorts of films, there'd be for sure a game out to accompany them. But I'm surprised they've not got anything lined up for Suicide Squad, Ant-Man, Batman versus Superman. Seems to be being a bit quiet on the game front.
Ant-Man is a big mystery. Like, I'm really curious what will be the movie. If it will be the like a regular superhero DC movie, or will it have any twist in it? Because it seems a bit strange, to be honest, with the hero, with the Ant-Man.
Yeah, but they
it's not somebody I've ever followed before, but it's getting quite decent reviews. I think a lot of superhero
But
films are difficult to follow now.
is it released? Is it in theaters now?
it is. It is.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have not seen any reviews, so
For me, the Batman trilogy is quite difficult to follow because they were all so good. But I'm a big Bale and Nolan fan, so I'm a bit biased.
Hmm. But I
Okay.
have like for the new upcoming Batman movies, there is pretty good signs on the air that they are gonna be something good. Like, I think they are not gonna be like the worst. They are not definitely. They are not going to be the Batman and Robin, Joel Schumacher, 90s with nipples.
Don't remind us.
don't remind us.
Oh god. Batman
Okay, so
and
Jad,
Robin.
did you play anything else apart of this?
Lego Jurassic.
Worth mentioning, maybe.
Yeah, Lego Jurassic World. I played that as well on the Xbox,
Is
and
it,
I love Lego games. And it's got all 4 films in the game, so definitely worth some money.
okay.
There's always
played
loads of stuff to do in Lego games.
Is there anything new in this part? Like
Yeah, you can
mechanics are better, different.
For Lego games, the difference would be you can control the dinosaurs and do puzzles with them.
Oh right.
It doesn't sound terribly complex, but my son loves watching me play Lego games, and I love playing them, so it's quite convenient.
Nice. Okay.
Did
Nice.
you play Lego World?
No, I've not bought that yet. My son quickly saw it on Steam, and then I minimized Steam, so he. Again, it's we might get around to that one day when we've completed all the console stuff.
But it's something totally different, I think. Yeah.
Yeah,
Than the Lego games. The
yeah. I don't think it has
More,
any. I don't think it's story driven like the
It's
games.
just Minecraft with Lego.
yeah,
Sort of thing,
Minecraft with Lego pieces.
Okay, Lauri, what did you play
What did I play?
apart of Heroes of the Storm?
Yeah,
Armored
there was a new patch for the Heroes of the Storm, or a new character, Leoric, Skeleton King.
He's been spending money on those MOBAs.
Yeah, but I bought it with in-game currency, cold.
Okay.
It's pretty easy to get.
Did you spend any real money on Heroes of the Storm?
Yeah, I have bought maybe. Well, I have bought 2 heroes with real money. Yeah, 2 heroes. Yeah. So not that much, but like they are pretty pricey if they are not like
Discounted.
on sale. But it's something like €9.
Mm-hmm.
So it's for one character, but that's like the price for the newest one, probably. But yeah, two characters I have bought with real money, and I have no problem doing it. They have been pretty different and pretty fun to play, so I'm gonna continue that if they come up with a interesting character and I don't have the in-game gold at that moment.
So, question about Heroes of the Storm: is it easy for somebody who's never played a MOBA before to get into? Is it casual or is it?
Yes, really easy. Like not super easy, but really easy. Yes, because it's my first MOBA. I tried to play League of Legends for maybe 2 matches, and at the first match I ran into a wrong lane, and then I was caught. Said the people reported me and told me they fucked my mother, and then
So,
I was a fact. Like
the
I
casual
got so
console
much
stuff.
interesting stuff from there. I didn't know, like my mother was that big of a whore, but but it's much easier and much team orientated. Like that's the thing that most of people don't like it, that like League of Legends, because you cannot like shine on your own that much, because it's really a team game. So it's more like maybe NHL or FIFA or something like that.
So, John, when are we starting our Heroes of the Storm adventure?
Right now, motherfucker, I'm
Is the
installing
team?
it right now.
Nice, dude. We're gonna play.
How big is the team, Laurie? How many heroes per team?
There's five heroes.
Yeah, it's
So,
like the core
it's
mechanics are
S4
similar,
and-
yeah, to League of Legends.
Yeah.
Talking about MOBAs, have you guys seen the prize pool of the international
Yes.
Five?
Yeah.
You
$16
see
million, something like that.
and 6
In
million
Dota.
for the winner?
In
Nice.
Dota.
No, yeah,
In
for
Dota.
Dota, yeah. Mhm.
Yeah.
Which is a shame, comparing Counter-Strike. That Valve does not do anything about Counter-Strike, like the Dota International. Anyway,
Counter-Strike doesn't have the Gabe Newell favor.
no, it doesn't. It is the second most popular game, I think, at the moment on Steam, but they seem
Probably.
they seem not to care about it as much as they care about Dota.
If they were to
At the
donate,
moment, of course.
let's say 1% of the skins money on the case opening money for a prize pool of a
Yeah.
tournament, I believe we would reach more than the 16 million.
Probably yes.
People go crazy.
So, Laurie, did you play anything else?
Did I play anything else? No.
Yeah, I know what you played. I've seen you. You didn't hide enough. You played DayZ standalone.
Yeah, that I did play. We had a really interesting situations and firefights like just today. Yeah.
So,
I played it.
from what I've seen, there are not a lot of zombies at the moment, yeah?
Yep.
And they are not such a threat to players. Like,
They
So-
are like
isn't like DayZ now just a squad-based PvP game?
yeah.
Like the best
Yeah.
DayZ experience now is squad-based PvP?
Yeah. And there's like the only, if you don't have a gun, then the zombies are a problem. But if you have a gun, then they are not. Like that's that. And there are not like that many zombies, so you can easily deal with them with a gun.
Yeah, okay. So, Togu?
Yeah.
What did you play?
Yeah, well, I didn't play that many games. I've been spending my weekends away. So I've been playing on mobile, which mean fun games or really old games. And one of the games was Final Fantasy 1. Yes, I'm talking about the original Final Fantasy.
Nice.
And I have to say I'm not sure, on dungeon number 3 or something, because I'm not sure how many of you played Final Fantasy 1. The story is really basic. You're basically the 4 warriors of the light. The land is filled with darkness because a great evil has come, and you have to recover 4 crystals. And I'm on the mission to recover those crystals, so I've recovered already 2 of them. Been grinding lots of hours onto that game. And currently, you can see clearly that some people can make a game as good as that on the RPG Maker, and the story isn't necessarily that great also so far, but you have to give it props for the age that the game has. And besides Final Fantasy, that I have that sickness, like I've been telling you, when I see a new game coming out, I have to play all the former games until I reach that, and that's because of Final Fantasy 15. That's why I'm catching up with the first Final Fantasies. And besides that, I just played one silly game that's called Cook Serve Delicious, where you play a restaurant manager. It's a button smasher game almost, where you start with a
It's
small.
quite difficult though, right? When it gets
It's yeah. When it gets busy, it's crazy. You get the orders wrong very easily, because you have to set up you have your restaurant, you have to set up your menu, and you take orders. And your menu for the first game stages, it's like you have different kinds of soda, you can have salads, you can have beer, and like French fries or ice cream. And then the customer says, I want 2 scoops of chocolate and sprinkles on top and whipped cream, and you have to make all the right assumptions as you have customers coming in, and you have to take out the trash, and you have to clean up the toilet. It's a silly game, a mindless, silly game that when you have all the customers coming in, it can get a little bit chaotic, and you'll have bad orders, but it's small fun. And that's the only things that I've been playing, besides the 20 minutes of Rocket League where I lost shamelessly to Merrick for 7-1. I had the game downloaded it. I was trying the, the tutorial for 3 minutes, and Merrick was like, let's go for a game. And so he crushed me 7-1. A newbie that didn't even know the commands that well, so that happened. And you, Merrick, what have you been playing, dude?
Just
Yeah.
as a
Besides
side
Rocket
note, by
League.
the way, Final Fantasy 1's nearly 30 years old, so it's,
Yeah.
it's probably holding up quite well.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I have not been playing any new original game, unfortunately. I have only been playing Rocket League, which is fantastic, to be honest, and I'm enjoying it more and more. I started playing ranked games, and it's really fun when you learn how to handle the ball, and when you learn some tactics and you implement them into the game. The game is chaotic, but there is some depth into it, and I can imagine that having a team of 2 players, because I'm enjoying the most the 2 versus 2 mode, as it's the most interesting for me. It's the slower one and less chaotic than the 3 versus 3, and it's easier to cooperate with each other. And I can see that with it can be interesting when you will play in a team and try to talk on TeamSpeak, for example, and implement some tactics and stuff like that. So I'm enjoying it very much. I played 4 versus 4 is a mess, honestly. So yeah, so it's a nice game. I will play more of it. I hope that they will add the feature to be able to create parties between PC version and PS4, so we will be able to play together. And yeah, the second game I've been playing was Counter-Strike. I go
Counter-Strike? Who the fuck plays that?
I don't know. Yeah, it's I started enjoying it again. and will try to play it more.
Any competitive match or just
No,
casual?
they added this when I did not play. They added this new levels into the game, and you have to be like the third level to be able to play.
Go to competitive.
Yeah. Even if you played it before, because I played some before, but I had to like gather points to be able to play the competitive, and I just like got into third level like 2 days ago, so I did not have a chance to play the comp match, but I am able to do this now, and I will probably soon, hopefully. And I have to say it now. I watched Panda play Counter-Strike, and I'm very much impressed with his op skills. This is just a side remark, which I promised to mention to our friend Panda Man.
There you go, Panda. You got your shout out, bro.
Yeah, then I hope that next week I will be able to talk about some new stuff, some new games. Hopefully.
Competitive CS:GO.
This war is mine, maybe.
Sorry. Yeah, exactly.
This war is mine.
Oh, Judd, I've noticed also you did not mention it in your part, but that you played City Skylines for.
I tried. I feel like I've failed at the first hurdle because building roads in that game's like I don't know. It's like it sets you up for if you make a bad road system, you kind of screwed for the game then, because you've got a limited budget early on, so you've kind of got to not go crazy. So there's going to be a lot of mistakes before I even get a small town built. A lot of stuff to control early on, like water and power and road system, and you don't get much of a budget without taking out a humongous loan. So yeah, I'll just have to persist with it.
So do you like it? But do you like it for?
Yeah,
so
it's
far?
good.
Will
I
you
can
play
see
it more?
myself. Yeah, I want to not just give up on it. I'll try. I'm gonna try it.
Yeah. By the way, they are making the makers of that game have the studio pretty close to my house. Had to just shout that
Really?
out. Yeah.
So we can make a episode of Dsync podcast with City Skylines developers online. You can
No, I don't I don't know them, but I just know the studio is right next there.
We believe in your skills.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Ask them to
interviewing
go to your sauna, Laurie.
Yeah.
Go.
Yeah.
Let's
That
do the
would be
sauna
nice.
party.
Podcast in sauna.
Do
We should.
you know, I'm probably the only Finnish guy that doesn't have a sauna in my house. Like
No,
everybody
that's
has.
disappointing.
I'm so jealous. Like everybody has a sauna, but I don't. I don't have a sauna. I have only an
A
ugly
sex-
shower.
A sex dungeon.
Yeah, and that too. But that's a different thing. We are talking about the sauna.
Isn't it the same?
No,
In
it's
Finland?
not. You can do it there. By the way, have you guys ever tried to have sex in a sauna?
I can.
It's
The random topic.
Because
No.
it's really not a good thing to do, because if you try that, you can actually die. You can actually die. It's really hard.
It's
Really hard.
Did you kill somebody? The sauna?
What is it?
Almost killed
what is
myself.
really hard?
Do you want to tell us that you've been using some girls' dead corpse as coal to feed the sauna?
I didn't like hear what you said, but I can almost think what you said.
Lauri is hard in sauna.
Yeah.
No problem.
Can we move on? Or do
About no, we are talking more about sex in saunas. Tell us.
We need
What more is it to say?
we need an early access sauna sex simulator with the VR sets.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. That's the next big thing. And we need also, because Togo loves him so much, we need Dean Hall to make it the thing.
Motion
And
capture. Sessions.
maybe we can even get EA to publish it.
Maybe.
That would be good.
It would be perfect with
Yeah.
a trifecta.
With the Dsync.
Yeah.
could be some nice moves from Dormit.
Yeah, and
So-
it will be made on Arma engine.
Yeah, so and yeah, we are finishing, I think.
I
Very
think so.
closely.
Hope
Unless
so.
Marek
Yeah.
wants to talk about his Smurf CSGO account.
Yeah.
I wish I had one. I wish I was able like to be on this level when I could have a Smurf account. I'm just
Ask Panda to.
the
set
Smurf
you up
account is
with
my primary one. Yeah. Speaking about early access games and games coming up, do you have any games like looking for any games coming shortly?
Who?
Small games.
Jet?
You're putting the pressure on me. To be honest, I don't think so. I was looking forward to H Hour, but you saw Summit stream that, right, Marek?
Yeah.
That was the only one I was looking forward to, really. And that's currently early access, and that's just not going to be worth my money by the look of it.
Are we just saying games that we want to come out in early access or games that we want to come out?
I think
No, just
we're talking
overall.
about
Overall.
like that
Overall.
are coming soon.
Who's hyped for the Metal Gear Solid 5 and all the Kojima / Konami mistakes?
Yeah,
Not me.
that's crazy. That is the whole situation is very crazy.
Yep.
I don't know what to say about this, but these are some serious PR stuff going on.
Something is going on there that nobody really knows what's going on.
Yeah.
But game that's coming out that I'm eager to see, it's Persona 5. Because I'm weird like
yeah,
that.
but we talked about this already.
Yeah, besides the Fallout 4 I'm curious about, but I really need to get Fallout 3. Do you guys recommend the PC version of Fallout 3 or should I just get the cheap PS3 version?
Yeah, get the PC version, and there are some mods and stuff like
Really
that.
nice one.
Yeah.
You should have got the Game of the Year version in the Steam
Yes,
sale.
of
It was
course.
pretty
of course.
cheap.
I have time. Have time to get the. I'm not buying. I have my serious questions about buying Fallout 4 in full price. So while everybody is going crazy and streaming it, I just won't be on those streams.
Okay.
Unless it's Merrick or Laurie or Jet.
Last question for John. John, tell me, what's the best comic that you read since I recommended you some comics?
Best comic that I've
Yeah.
read.
Which was the best one?
Yeah, I should probably mention in Togu. Thank you for the Marvel Unlimited. I've been taking advantage of it, even though the app.
Hey, this
sucks.
is illegal. This is illegal.
Are you
No problem, Jet.
are you
Bro.
finding the app for it is rubbish?
The app for it. I don't mind it too much.
But like
using
I'll
it.
have like a 30-page comic.
Yeah. Well.
Oh,
Did Jet just
Just
Okay.
disconnected.
Okay.
Oh my god, there's a...
Something happened. It says
Okay, you're back.
anyway.
You
I'll have a
30-page comic.
I'll have a 30-page comic, and like 29 will load fine, and then like one of the middle pages just will not load or appear whatsoever. It's quite odd.
I have that from time to time that I'm just not being able to load pages, but then I just go back out of the comic, go into the comic again, and try to and hope to God that it loads.
Yeah, I tried that a few times, and yeah.
It's
But
a bit frustrating, but
to answer the question, probably Batman Year One. Some of the Nightfall stuff is quite good. The origins of Bane have been interesting. Yeah, I've not read too many. I've got lots in the backlog, as you probably know. But I'm looking forward to reading The Walking Dead. So again,
Have you started The Walking Dead?
no, I've just I got it last week, so it's ready to start. But there is a
He
lot
got
of
it
them.
last week. He normally he's waiting like 2 months before he reads anything he gets.
Yeah.
He's
You've got to
just, you
savor
know,
it, man. You've got to look at it for a bit, and I really appreciate it.
Yeah, because I started to read The Walking Dead when the series came out, the
Yeah.
TV series, and there's like, I don't spoil anything, but there's like the, how do you say it? Like the, how much time some things take to develop in the comics are really different than in the TV series.
yeah, the TV
Like,
series is much different. How much did you read from the Walking Dead comics, Laurie?
me,
Yeah.
I think I read to the governor stuff. I don't remember what number of the number of the comic, but the jail stuff and somewhere there. Like I have to pick it up again because I really liked it, but I really don't remember for sure because I'm mixing it to the TV series.
Yeah, the governor stuff in the series was some of the best bits, if not the best.
Hmm.
And is that
Yeah,
it?
and Togo,
Sort of.
what's your favorite comic you
My
ever
favorite
read?
comic that I ever read. I'm not sure. I've read a bunch, but how to mention? I'm not sure because I'm not sure of the translation. I like Daredevil, and I like old hardcover one of Daredevil about his death.
But
That I'm not.
do you remember which was it the Kevin Smith one? Or
Probably
Frank Miller maybe?
Frank Miller, I believe.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
did
But
him and the other guy did the Batman Year One stuff, and I love that so
Yeah,
far.
Frank Miller is like one of the biggest stars of comic books. He did the
Yeah.
Sin City. He did the Dark Knight Returns comic, which back in the 80s it changed the Batman and made like he developed the Dark Knight version of Batman, the scary one, the dark one. So he's like he's the guy. One of
The
the
Daredevil series is good as
yeah
well.
yeah, of course.
Hmm. And if I can say, like, my favorite is from the more mature ones is still
Sailor
the
Moon.
no Killing Joke is still my favorite. But
Yeah.
like when I was a kid, I read a lot of turtles stuff.
Teenage Mutant Ninja
Yeah,
Turtles.
and they were, I don't remember who draw them, but they were so well drawn. I don't remember who made them, but they were like awesomely good. And I really have to look into that. I don't remember who made them.
Apparently, it
And
was Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird, maybe. Yeah,
don't know.
I just quickly looked it up. I've never
Yeah,
read any of those comics, but I
the
was
Killing Joke was written by Alan Moore, so
Yeah, Killing Joke. Yeah, but I was talking
regarded.
about the
Yeah,
turtles.
I just want to
Yeah.
mention that he's regarded as like the best story writer in the comics.
Yeah.
is
I
that him who did From Hell?
Yeah,
Yeah, I know
he's
him.
from Hell, Watchmen, Killing Joke, and many more.
Yeah, I still love the Asylum joke in the ending. I still remember it.
In Killing Joke,
Like-
yeah.
Yeah, in Killing Joke. Yeah.
Do you want to tell it to end out the cast?
No, because people need to read it.
Yeah.
If they haven't already. Well, most of us have read it, but still.
Everybody
Yeah.
escapes from prison, then dies on an island.
Hmm?
Everybody escapes from prison, then dies on an island.
What? What are you talking about?
I'm just thinking about recent endings.
Oh yeah, true. But and also I want to give a little shout out to a series that I talked to Marek about, like this new series called Mr. Robot. Have you heard about it?
Skag Pouch recommended it a few weeks ago.
I've
Yeah.
heard about it but haven't watched it.
Yeah, like I said to Marek, like I just yesterday night, I didn't get sleep, and I thought I don't like just look something, and I watched the first episode of that series, and I was so hooked that I have to look all of them, like all the 4 episodes that are out. I had to look for them because it was surprisingly good, and my suggestion is that don't watch any trailers about it. Just start watching it. Maybe watch the first episode. It's I think it's really good.
Okay.
I'll check it
Yeah.
out sometime.
Okay. So I think we can finish with we
Yeah,
hit
definitely,
the
yeah.
2-hour mark, and
Well, can we just say thank you again for Mr. The One Jet for coming on our humble show?
That's cool.
showing
I
us-
hope I can do it again sometime soon.
Hmm.
We have the
We-
18th session.
we will
that
discuss
the
it and have a vote on that.
Vote? Shit, is that what it's come to?
Yeah, we are like democratic podcast, so there's
Sheesh.
always
Yeah,
voting.
this is like the Marek's way to say, like he can send us an email and say fuck no.
exactly.
Yeah, I must say that there was a vote before the podcast whether we should invite the one jet to it, and it was a secret voting, but one vote was against.
So that was the reason why I wasn't invited to the voting. So you guys, Togo and Marek did it. Marek said no. So why John is here?
Why am I even here? Exactly. It's the only time I
for
can
those
get
that
live.
don't follow the Mr. The One Jet, please do. When he eventually streams, he's a fun
Oh yeah,
streamer
John.
that sometimes plays and cook on his streams. So
Mhm.
that's a must. And especially if you like DayZ mod /
Variety gamer. Don't brand me as a DayZ player. Variety gamer.
Variety gamer for 2 games. DayZ mod and Isaac.
Please follow Mr. The One Jet if you like waiting for the next stream.
And you'll find some curious mods on his channel. Policing the chat.
And some nice
For sure.
comments in his chat.
Yeah, and really sometimes really good play of DayZ.
No, that's not that.
Mod,
No,
and Mod, of course.
that's
because
not
standalone
this
is
channel.
cancer.
No.
That's not this
That's
John.
not, you messed up it, Lauri. That's not him. That's not this Judd. That's the other one.
Sometimes.
I thought I was the
Sometimes.
guest, not the roasting of the one jam.
But we do have to thank Jet for that amazing Armatry session where we all 4 met, and while Laurie was smoking his cigarette away, we were in heavy spite. That was most amazing time.
Yeah, and we we have to thank the one Jet for his fabulous video of headset destroying playing
The place-
electric.
I've still got that headset. It's done me well.
Yeah, I wanted to make a GIF out of this and put it onto the stream as his pick, but But I was-
Technically, you
I
can
was
play
too
the
lazy.
video on the stream, on the podcast.
Nobody wants to see that again.
Well, so that's a wrap. Thank you
that's
guys
it.
for coming. Thank you people in chat for your questions and for your remarks. We hope to see you again in probably 1 week time, if all goes well. And see you.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.